The Power Showcase is coming up in Miami later on this month as we continue operating at a very high level with the puns this morning. And Brian Domenico is the man responsible for the event. He joined us last year to talk about it, and he's back to talk about it again this year. Brian, good morning.
Matt, Harold, it's always a pleasure to be on. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
You know, watching the highlights of Blaze last year gets us excited for the crop that you've got in this year's event. Tell us about who's going to be swinging the bat, some of the names we should be looking out for.
Well, you know, we had an addition last year of 10 or 11 college guys, and obviously there was a high demand to increase that number. And this year we have the top 40 college power hitters throughout all of college baseball, from Division I all the way down to junior college. And when I was watching the Division I home run derby at the DT Ameritrade Park, you know, a young man that really stood out to me was Morehead State's Nico Holsizer, who put on an absolute display, hit 49 home runs and, 27 home runs during his regular college season. That was very impressive. And then you got Tristan Cassis, who's one of the top prospects in the 2018 class. And what kind of stood out about him is, not only was he a three-time gold medalist with Team USA in the 15U and then 2 in the 18U, and also collecting an MVP award, is that intangible that he's a winner. He's 6'5", 240 pounds.
Wow, he's
and
a
then,
big kid,
then,
man.
then
We're looking at video of him right now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all these kids are big kids. That Nico Holsizer that you talked about, Brian, he looked like Pete Incaviglia. In the same setup at the plate, too. I mean, that guy's a beast. So these are college players, and then you have high school kids as well competing separately.
We do. You have the different the different age groups, but I'm glad you brought that up. Blaze continues to amaze me, from the transformation of his body from one year to the next, to working on his overall skill set, to looking for another big stage to perform upon. So this year he's going to be competing. He would have just turned 15 years old. His birthday's in late December. He's going to be competing with Nico Holsizer and all these top college power bats. So it should be another exciting
hold on, Brian.
event.
I got to stop you real quick, because we're watching some video of Blaze. This looks like it's in Arlington Stadium down there. It looks like it's in Texas.
Yeah.
He's hitting them where the big leaguers don't hit them.
This past December. Correct.
How many 500-foot
November.
homers? How many 500-foot homers did he hit in that event in November?
Well, he ended up he hit 3 more. So, again, solidifying that, he just keep going on his way. He almost hits the Hyundai car out on top of the roof in the restaurant. Just unbelievable.
Man.
He hit 3 500-foot homers.
At the age of 14.
Well, he's hit 6 now. He's at a total of 6.
It's unbelievable. So, people that are unfamiliar with the event, Brian, talk about how this thing started. How do you go about, getting these guys to participate? Are you in contact with their college coaches? Talk about kind of how this comes together.
Well, it started about 14 years ago as a fundraiser where I was a high school varsity baseball coach in Boca Raton, and it just kind of evolved from a South Florida competition to the state of Florida to then 5 states, 13 states, and then I started renting major league stadiums. And 2009, when Bryce Harper hit the 502-foot home run, that kind of brought the Power Showcase brand into homes around the world, and it expanded internationally, where now we've had representation from 27 different countries, and it just continues to take on a life of its own. I think you guys can attest to this, that everybody has a dream of playing in the major leagues, and when you can open up their minds and give them a gateway to kind of jump into a time warp and whet their palates for greatness at a younger age, it just enhances their belief systems on and off the field, and it's a wonderful thing.
It's pretty neat. I mean, is there any truth to the rumor that the initial event was called the ground ball to the right side to get the runner over showcase?
Hey, man, you have to elevate to celebrate,
Elevate to celebrate. I like it.
That's where it's all going. Hey, Brian, we appreciate the phone call today. I know that when the event happens later on this month, or next month, that is, we're still in November, we'll have video, and we'll keep our viewers posted as to who this year's hero would be.
And it's international, too, joining you. Is that right, as well?
Yeah, absolutely. That gentleman, Stephen Kill, great agent over in South Korea. They just got done, hosting their second annual Power Showcase over there. And, there's a lot of old traditions, Matt and Harold, and he had to kind of break through some barriers to kind of do this.
Wow.
And there's a couple of players, a guy named Woo Yuk Bian, who's about 6'4", 225, who's a projected first-rounder. Then another pitcher named Woo Young Jin, who throws 95. And these guys are only 16, 17 years old.
Wow.
And again, it just all reverts back to, infusing these guys with that sense of belief that they can get to the big leagues. And he's doing a wonderful job. And then there's two quick other guys over in Europe, a guy named Marty Bruner and Martin Nyhoff. Those guys, again, have kind of gone out on the limb to promote the best players out of Europe. And, every year we get the best guys, and it's just when you bridge that gap internationally and you see the smiles and the celebration on the faces of the players from the United States and all these international players with their arms around each other, laughing and enjoying each other's skill set, it's wonderful.
Hey, last thing, we'll let you go here.
Choke back a sneeze there mid-interview.
So you're going to have a whole international competition and everybody's coming together. Am I right on this, or what's the next showcase?
Yeah, it continues to grow where a lot of these countries will select their top guy to proudly represent their country, and then now there's different countries that are choosing to run their own individual events, and then the winners out of those events make their way to Miami.
Wow, that's awesome.
Ryan, we appreciate the phone call. Always good checking in with you on your event, and again next month I know we'll have the new names, and we'll keep folks posted as to the latest crazy video of 14-year-olds hitting 500-foot home runs. Brian Domenico joining us.
You guys are the best. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
The Power Showcase. Good stuff.